Hello everybody. Today I'd like to talk about addiction, stove addiction, and there's only one cure. Don't buy the first stove, because I'll tell you what happens. You buy your first stove and you think, oh, that works really well. Then you see a different design, so you buy another stove, and then you use that stove. You think that's brilliant, that does something slightly different. Then you see another design, and you buy another stove and you use that stove and you think, oh, that's amazing, that. And you see another design. Next thing you know, you've got another stove. Before you know it, you've got loads of stoves. And when you've had enough of meth stoves and you're confident with them, it's time to move on. Then you start thinking about different types of fuel stoves, like paraffin, petrol. Then you start searching on eBay, and before you know it, there's another bing bong at the door. And this little beauty arrived. For those of you who don't know what this is an old style pressure stove. Works on paraffin. I was looking at the Optimus and spending a lot of money on that. They do a nice little sphere stove made of brass. And the reason I didn't go for that is because the burner at the top roars out and it makes a lot of noise, so you can buy a silencer for it. And the only place I know to get silencers are in the USA, because they're not made in the UK for that particular type of stove. So looking on eBay, I found this little beauty. The good thing about buying second-hand, antique sort of things is that you buy it, if it doesn't work out, you can just put it back up for sale on eBay, and you may not lose any money on it at all. This even came with some instructions. The wickless oil stove. RM, MFG and Engineering Co Limited. That's amazing. Line Works, Stamthorpe. It's got a telephone number there as well. Telephone Vic 2303. I get the feeling this is so old, Vic's probably no longer employed at RM, MFG and Engineering. In fact, Vic is probably dead by now, to be honest. This was probably made in the 1950s, 60s. I'd say 1960s. Look at that. Used pink or royal standard paraffin. What a beautiful piece of history that is alone. Just that card. That is amazing. It's all the instructions on there. This is how it came. And it also came with a couple of other accessories. One's the pricking stick. I'll explain that in a second. And another one was a cone. And the cone, I'll show you that in a minute. This is a solid piece of tin. It's just amazing. Obviously it's homemade by somebody. And it's like, you get this sort of stuff and you think to yourself, oh, I'd be ashamed to lose that. That's nice, that's proper, that goes together. Right, for those of you who may not know about these stoves, I'll take the lid off. Basically, what you do, you put your paraffin in there, leave the valve open. You then prime this with some methylated spirit or something very similar. You then light it. The flames heat up these tubes. There's a tiny little hole in there. I don't know if I can zoom in far enough. Oh, see if you'll focus. There we are. There's a tiny hole. Let's get to it. Just in there. Oh, you can tell my eyesight's going, can't you? But you got the general idea. That's what the pricker's for. That is to push down in there and clear out any debris in order that that hole stays clear. Where was I? Oh, I know. Let's come back out. You put your meths or similar type of stuff in there, fuel like denatured alcohol, you light it. It then heats all these tubes up. That heat then transfers down to here. That paraffin warms up and creates gas. The gas from the paraffin goes up, goes through the tubes, comes out the top, and then you light the top. Or if you're really lucky, as soon as the meths goes out and you pump some pressure in there, sufficient gas comes out that the whole thing lights up. There's people on YouTube do far better explanations than I, so it's worth checking them out. By the way, once you get it going, you can control the heat from here by how much pressure you pump in here. The more pressure you put in, the bigger the flame you get. And if you release some air, then the flame goes down. It's got a nice big plate that goes on the top where you can put your cooking pots. It's really sturdy. Now this one is obviously English made. There are numerous other places, countries that have made these. Obviously the most famous is Optimus, the sphere ones. The Swedish ones, they're available on the internet, but they're a lot more expensive. There's also some from Czechoslovakia as well. So, but when you buy stuff like this, it's a bit of a gamble. It's like, what condition is it in? Is it knackered? So I've had a little bit of a look at this, and everything appears to be kind of original. There's some soldering that's been done on there. Now, whether that there is original soldering or somebody's repaired it, I don't know. Also, the legs, I think the legs are all original. They haven't been resoldered on this one. A lot of the time you have a look on the internet and, well, that one might have been resoldered. Things get resoldered and rehashed and put together, so you don't really know what you're buying until you get it home. Now I must say, the first time I fired up this little man, it was like going really well. I fired it up, I put the meths in there. The meths died down. I thought, great, I'll start pumping it. I'll pump this a couple of times, and all of a sudden, woof, it was like a oil rig going up in the middle of the North Sea. There was orange flame here, and there was black smoke billowing out everywhere. Luckily, I knew to release this valve, take the pressure out. I've since worked out that the only reason that happened was I overfilled it. So instead of putting pressure to pump up gas, I was actually pumping up paraffin, and the paraffin came out there and it just lit a horrible mess. So there we are, beware. This is an interesting feature. Obviously, when you see things like this and they're old, people kind of repair them and that. I was wondering why that didn't screw down really tight. You can still see there where it can still screw down a bit further. So I took it off. And I thought, oh, I know these have like little leather washers in. It must be a problem with the washer. There we go. In there, we've got a tap washer. It does the job to a fashion. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a bit odd finding a tap washer inside. However, it does make a good seal. And none of the air comes out of there. The other thing about this is you see a lot of these on the internet and they're really easy to pump. You know, people go pump and pump, pump. This one, it's a bit of a struggle. So at some point, what I might do is take them all apart. Give them a really good clean up. Not too much, because I like this logo on the side. And it's like real, you know. Imagine what it'd be like back in the day. You went out camping with something like this and sat up. People must have had them everywhere, mustn't they? Imagine going on a campsite and you've got 20 or 30 of these going on. Oh, it'd just be brilliant. Anyway, enough of that. It's a little bit windy today, but we're going to give it a go anyway. Let's take him outside and fire him up. I think that's burnt off now. That was quick. Tighten up the valve. Give him some pressure. Don't know if that's done it enough. There we go. You can hear that gas coming out now. That was painless, wasn't it? Zoom you in. There we go. Zoom you in. Let's give him a little pump. That gas is now burning. Oops. Overdid that a bit. We'll let him cool down and we'll go again. I've literally taken that much out. And see if we can get in the bottom of there. Hopefully you can just about see there's hardly any fuel in there. Mess is nearly burnt away now. Have we got sufficient? Not sure I've heated the tubes up enough. We're giving them a minute or so to cool, then we go again. Right, we're not messing about this time. Put that cap back on. You see all this nonsense and messing about. You can easily see why people get cans of gas, can't you? Turn the button, quick ignite, and you're gone. But it's much more fun. And it's cool. Finally, I heard the gas. There we are. We'll let him keep heating up. Nearly there. Ah, bollocks. Finally. Keep going, little man. Let him warm up. Success. It's probably my inability to understand what I'm supposed to be doing that ruined it. Let's get him going. You can hear that hiss. That's a really quiet burner. How cool is that if you go camping? Right, now we give him a little bit more. Now he's warming up. Let's take you off there and give you a closer view. There we go. Got that beautiful flame going there. Give him a bit more. I found if I overdo this, putting the air pressure in, I don't know if it's the pump or me, it goes up in a bit of a fireball. So what I'll do at some point, I'll probably take all this apart, see if there's a problem with that there valve, get some replacement washers and fire him up again and see how we get on. But it's a lovely stable flame. So there you have it, old style paraffin stove. Super cool. If anybody knows anything about the company who made this, GMK Engineering I think it was, or you got any information on these stoves that would be useful, please drop a line in the comments. What a beautiful piece of history coming back to life. Thanks very much everybody. I'll see you next time.